Did you know that the Philippines has been grappling to stem its worst dengue outbreak since 2012, and health issues like diabetes, tuberculosis, dengue, HIV and AIDS, measles, and a current issue, the coronavirus. These are all examples of health trends, issues, and concerns that the Philippines is still facing. Hi, good day everyone. My name is Giancarlo C. Gomez, and this is my partner Eliza Sirenton, and we will be discussing the final lesson on page 11 of our second quarter health module, Health, Trends, Issues, and Concerns. The agenda of our discussion is consists of four main topics: the Philippine AIDS Prevention and Control Act of 1998, substance use and abuse, the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, and social health. Before we proceed to the first topic of our discussion, I just want to briefly explain HIV and AIDS. What is HIV? HIV, or human immunodeficiency virus, is a viral infection that attacks and slowly destroys the infected person's immune system, leading to immune deficiency. It is progressive and can lead to lack of body defense against all kinds of infection, including those that don't normally infect man, and can also lead to cancer susceptibility. AIDS, or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, on the other hand, is the appearance of clinical manifestation of HIV infection. In this state, the person presents with opportunistic infections of unlimited extent and possibilities. This will prevent with atypical presentation and severity. A person with HIV is very infectious. They are very ill and also prone to aggressive kinds of cancer. HIV is primarily a sexually transmitted disease, which means that it's transmitted to heterosexual and homosexual activities or practices such as the anal, vaginal, or oral sex. Moreover, HIV can also be transferred through certain body fluids such as blood, semen, or preseminal fluid, rectal fluids, vaginal fluids, and breast milk. Philippine AIDS Prevention and Control Act of 1998. Under Section 2, Subsection A of this Act, the state shall promote public awareness about the causes, modes of transmission, consequences, means of prevention and control of HIV and AIDS through a comprehensive nationwide educational information campaign organized and conducted with the state. Such campaigns shall promote value formation and employ scientifically proven approaches focused on the family as a basic social unit and be carried out in all schools and training centers, workplaces, and communities. These programs shall involve affected individuals and groups, including people living with HIV and AIDS. Philippine AIDS Prevention and Control Act of 1998, also known as Republic Act Number 8504, is an act that promulgates policies and prescribing measures for the prevention and control of HIV/AIDS in the Philippines, instituting a nationwide HIV and AIDS information and educational program, establishing a comprehensive HIV and AIDS monitoring system, strengthening the Philippine National AIDS Council or FINA, and for other purposes. This act was passed in Congress on July 28, 1997 and approved by the 10th Congress of the Philippines in February 13, 1998. The objective of this act is to provide education and information dissemination in various institutions and agencies, safe practice and procedures like testing, screening, and counseling in health organizations and associations, monitoring of cases with confidentially and programs for anti-discriminatory acts in the workplace, hospitals, and other public institutions.
Substance use and abuse. Before I discuss to you all substance use and abuse, watch the video first for better understanding.
Understanding substance use and abuse. Misuse of substances like alcohol and drugs is a growing problem in the U.S., and teens and young adults are most at risk, with half of all new drug users being under the age of 18, and 1 in 5 high school students having abused prescription drugs. Additionally, One third of high school students currently use alcohol, 23% use marijuana, and 22% use all forms of tobacco combined. Decision making in teens involves a chemical called dopamine in the brain's reward center. Dopamine helps transmit signals in the brain that make people feel happy. The number of brain receptors interacting with dopamine is higher in adolescence than at any other time of life. That means that when a teen is exposed to a reward, such as a compliment, the reward center reacts more strongly than it would for an adult. Also, being with friends increases the sensitivity to rewards and makes the already sensitive reward system even more sensitive. Feeling rewards more strongly and responding more intensely to what peers may think means that there are biological reasons for why teens sometimes decide to do things with their friends that they would never do on their own. This can be positive by encouraging friends to take on new challenges, but it can also lead to dangerous decisions, such as drug and alcohol use. Drug use and abuse can contribute to harmful short and long-term health risks. In fact, drug abuse can have long-term effects on a developing teenage brain. MRI scans of the brain have shown that people who have been using drugs for a long time have a smaller prefrontal cortex than people who have not been using drugs. The prefrontal cortex is the area where decision-making occurs. Drug use can result in poor grades, memory loss, and social problems. A lot of us have an idea about what a person dependent on drugs looks like. However, anyone can suffer from this type of addiction. Addiction doesn't depend on income, job, age, race, or color. It is a disease of the brain that can happen to anyone. Drug dependency is when a person consumes alcohol or drugs regularly, despite the fact that it causes issues in their life and relationships with others. Get help if you need it. Encourage your friends to get help too. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use or abuse, call 1-800-662-HELP or visit www.easyread.drugabuse.gov.
As you've heard in the video earlier, alcohol is one of the most abused substances used by many people around the world. Alcohol is categorized as a drug under this topic, the gateway drugs. So what do you mean by gateway drugs? According to gateway drug theory, gateway drugs are substances believed to open the door to the use of extremely dangerous and powerful addictive illegal drugs such as meth, heroin, and cocaine. Gateway drugs are believed to be a window to unprotected sex. Furthermore, gateway drugs are inexpensive and easy to access. That's why many people at different age levels use them. Alcohol and tobacco are the best example of these drugs. Now, I am going to explain to you all what alcohol and tobacco are and how these substances are addictive. Alcohol is a psychoactive substance with dependence-producing properties that has been widely used in many cultures for centuries. Alcohol is addictive because it stimulates the release of dopamine and endorphins in your brain. These chemicals produce pleasurable feelings such as euphoria, relaxation, and satiation. Tobacco, on the other hand, is a plant grown for its leaves, which are dried and fermented before being put in tobacco products. Cigarette smoking is the most common form of tobacco use worldwide. Tobacco products are addictive because of the chemical they contain called nicotine. Nicotine is a substance that creates a temporary feeling of well-being and relaxation and causes a surge of endorphins, which are chemicals that help to relieve stress and pain and improve mood.
Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, or Republic Act 9165, is an act instituting the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, repealing Republic Act number 6425, otherwise known as the Dangerous Drugs Act of 1972, as amended, providing funds therefor and for other purposes. This act was approved by the 12th Congress of the Philippines on July 7, 2002. Under Republic Act 9165, the state shall protect citizens from the harmful effects of dangerous drugs and their physical and mental well-being, and defend the same against acts or omissions detrimental to their development and preservation, pursue an intensive and unrelenting campaign against the trafficking and use of dangerous drugs and other similar substances through an integrated system of planning, implementation, and enforcement of anti-drug abuse policies, programs, and projects, and aims to achieve a balance in the national drug control program so that people with legitimate medical needs are not prevented from being treated with adequate amount of appropriate medications. According to Article 2, Unlawful Acts and Penalties, Section 4, importation of dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors and essential chemicals. Section 5. Sale, trading, administration, dispensation, delivery, distribution, and transportation of dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors and essential chemicals. Section 8. Manufacture of dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors and essential chemicals. Section 10. Manufacture or delivery of equipment, instrument, apparatus, and other paraphernalia for dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors and essential chemicals. Section 11. Possession of dangerous drugs. Section 15. Use of dangerous drugs. Section 20. Confiscation of forfeiture of the proceeds or instruments of the unlawful act, including the properties or proceeds derived from the illegal trafficking or dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors and essential chemicals. Section 27. Criminal liability of a public officer or employee for misappropriation, misapplication, or failure to account for the confiscated, seized, and or surrendered dangerous drugs, plant sources of dangerous drugs, controlled precursors and essential chemicals, instruments or paraphernalia and or laboratory equipment, including the proceeds or properties obtained from the unlawful act committed, are all punishable under this law. This act is widely used in a program named Oplan-Sokhang by the past administration in 2016.
Apat na drug suspect ang inaresto sa operasyon kontra droga na ikinasa ng PIDEA o Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency.
Ang mga nakumpiskang hinihinalang droga nagkakahalaga ng 3.4 million pesos. May report si Von Aquino.
Sa video na ito ng Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, kita ang dalawang lalaking pumasok sa sasakyan. Nang nasa loob na, iniabot ang isang plastic.
Patimbang na lang po.
Nang buksan ng plastic, tumambad ang isang karton na naglalaman ng hinihinalang droga. Isa-isang inilabas ang hinihinalang syabot, isa-isa ring inilapag sa tila portable na timbangan na nasa pagitan ng dalawang taong nasa harapan ng sasakyan.
Ilan? 300 lahat? Oo. Baka pwedeng 5. Magkano? 570 po.
Ang hindi alam ng dalawang suspect, mga ahente ng Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency ang katransaksyon nila. Nang makuha ang droga, inanunsyo na ang buy bust.
Kaya baba? Ano po? Huwag kayong baba. Bakit po? Hindi ito. Subukan mo bumaba. Subukan mo. Ang dami namin dyan sa labas. Sige po.
Agad pinosasan ng mga suspect na kinilalang sina JC Andre Beltran alias Ken at Fahad Malik. Binasahan ng Miranda rights.
Taga-PIDEA kami.
Inutusan lang po ako eh.
Hindi makinig. Kaya ina-arresto namin sa paglabag ng RA 965.
Arestado rin ang dalawa pa umanong kasamahan na sina John Robert Vicente at Liza Baliwan. Sabi ng PIDEA, mga spotter o nagmamasid sa paligid habang may nagaganap na transaksyon.
Through our confidential informant, sinabi, kaya niya makabili dito, sabi niya, dito kay alias Ken. Tapos siya ang nag-facilitate ng transaction sa pagitan ng netong si alias Ken at saka yung grupo niya at saka dito sa pusur buyer natin na PIDEA agent. Hindi kanila pagbibigyan kung walang endorsement galing dun sa talagang regular na nilang kumukuha. Kaya definitely hindi ka makakadirekta sa kanila.
300 grams lang daw ang binili ng nagpanggap na buyer. Pero nang kapkapan daw si Malik, nakuhanan pa ng 200 grams. Kaya nasa 500 grams na hinihinalang shabu ang nakumpiska na nagkakahalaga ng 3.4 million pesos. Inaalam pa ng PIDEA kung sino ang supplier ng mga suspect at kinabibilangang grupo.
Sando sila sa distribution level, kaya very discreet tong mga to. Kasi ang minimum amount na inaano nila is 100 grams eh.
Itinanggi naman ng mga suspect na nagbebenta sila ng droga. Nagbebenta ba kayo ng drugs?
Hindi po. Birthday ko po kasi. Gusto ko lang po ng banding-banding. Tapos di ko naman po akalain na ganon.
Nagbebenta ka ba ng drugs?
Hindi po.
Nagbebenta ka ba ng drugs?
Hindi po, wala po akong alam dyan. Akala nila po kasama ko pa-advance kain. Pinaghintay nila ako sa labas.
Nagbebenta ka ba ng drugs?
Hindi po, ma'am.
Pero paano ka hinuli?
Kinuha lang po ako
Saan?
sa may kalsada po.
Pero kakilala mo tong sila JC?
Opo.
Maharap ang mga suspect sa kasong paglabag sa Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act. Von Aquino, GMA News.
Social health. Social health is the ability of a social context to foster interdependent social relations in a way that meets the needs of individuals and the needs of the broader group. Social health is linked to an individual's overall well-being. It determines the ability to form and maintain interpersonal relationships. Peers are the best people who will help you reach this kind of thing. Here are some issues you may encounter. With the advancement of technology, there are various platforms where you may express yourself. This diversity may do both good and harm to you. This harm can be called computer crime-related activities or cybercrime. Before we go on, I am going to define first the word cyber and cybercrime. Cyber refers to a computer or a computer network, the electronic medium in which online communication takes place. And cybercrime, on the other hand, is a criminal activity that either targets or uses a computer network, or a network device. Most cybercrime is committed by cybercriminals or hackers who want to make money. To protect from this unlawful concern, the government mandated Republic Act No. 10175 or the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, an act defining cybercrime, providing for the prevention, investigation, suppression, and the imposition of penalties, therefore and for other purposes. This law mandates the prohibition of cybersex, child pornography, unsolicited commercial communications, and computer-related identity theft. According to Article 2, Punishable Acts, Section 4, Content-Related Offenses, Cybersex. Cybersex is willful engagement, maintenance, control, or operation, directly or indirectly, of any lascivious exhibition or sexual organs or sexual activity with the aid of computer system for favor or consideration, while unsolicited commercial communications is the transmission of commercial electronic communication with the use of computer system which seeks to advertise, sell, or offer for sale products and services are prohibited. Still under Article 2, computer-related offenses like computer-related identity theft. Computer-related identity theft is the intentional acquisition, use, misuse, transfer, possession, alteration, or deletion of identifying information belonging to another, whether natural or juridical, without right, provided that if no damage has yet been caused, the penalty imposable shall be 1 degree lower.
Child pornography. According to UNICEF, Philippines belong in the top producers of child pornography in the world. In fact, According to a book by Arnie Trinidad entitled Child Pornography in the Philippines published by UNICEF Manila, a prominent case happened in Pagsanghan, Laguna, a rural community south of Manila. The case, according to Trinidad, involved the victimization of 590 children and adolescents aged 7 to 17 years old, with 22 American and European pedophiles who were involved in the production of pornography, drug abuse, and the sexual abuse of children.
Nung naapekto po sa akin sarili, yung parang trauma po sa katakot na baka mahiwalay nga po sa magulang namin. Tapos one day bumalik siya, tapos baka patayin niya yung magulang namin. Sa sarili ko, yung pangalan ko nakakaya syempre. Lalo na yung lalabas ka, tapos bubulihin ka na, yun nga, pumapasok ako sa foreigner na yun.
Pagka labasan na dun sa eskwelahan, kasi bahay niya ay nakatapat sa gate ng eskwelahan, meron siyang crumpled na paper na ibabato lang sa kalsada. Tapos pag pinuot ng bata yun, pag binuksan yun, either meron lamang chocolate or pera, tapos may nakalagay na schedule yun na come to my house at this.
Tapos nagtanong din nanay ko, baka may masama kaming ginagawa. First day na pasok pa lang namin doon, nung tinanong niya sa amin yun. Sabi namin, wala kami ginagawang masama. Masaya nga dun, sabi ko Nanonood lang kami sa malaki niyang TV, naliligo lang kami, kumakain kami, tapos nagbibigay siya ng tsokolate, pera. Tapos natutuwa nanay ko kasi, yun nga, mabait yung foreigner na yun. Ginatagalan, may ginagawa na siyang sasama sa amin. Hindi pa rin namin sinasabi kasi natatakot kami
Tukoy din yung pang-aabuso nitong foreigner kasi nasira yung kanyang computer. Dinala niya sa isang repair shop at yung repairman ang nakakita na may iba't ibang mga imahe ng mga bata na hubad, tapos merong sexual act din na pictures, na yung repairman, siya ang nag-report.
Nagtatakit lang ng mukha, tapos parang minsan naisip namin na namin lumabas ng bahay. Nakakaya sa amin na malaman ng mga ibang tao, tapos mahiya kami magpakita sa kanila, makilala yung pangalan namin, matibi kami, gano'n. Makilala kami ng mga iba-ibang tao.
Sa mga batang lalaki, dahil yung macho image, di ba? So, ang hirap mo siyang pagsalitain, di ba? Pag nagsabi sila o umiyak sila, ang magiging tingin, mahina, lalaki ka pa naman, no? Tago yung kanilang galit, yung kanilang takot, at magpipustura silang malakas sila, na minsan, ang nagiging resort nun, aggressive sila.
May isa kaming barkada na pumapasok doon, dahil sa ginagawa na foreigner na yun, inaakala niya na makakabuti dun sa pakay niya dun sa isang babae. Kaya nadamay siya sa gang rape, yung pang-rape sa isang babae. Ako po ngayon bilang advocate, ito po yung aking ginagawa. Nagbibigay po kami orientation sa bawat school, hindi lang po sa school, sa labas rin po ng community. Nag-gana rin po kami ng awareness para sakaling may mangyari po sa kanila, sila rin pong nakakagawa ng paraan para iwasan ng ganung pangyayari. Mensahe ko lang sa mga bata yung huwag silang mayang magsalita kasi katulad ko na biktima rin sa pang-aabuso. Di ako na yung nagsalita kasi biktima lang ako eh. Di ako yung may kasalanan.
Child pornography, I want to share with you what the term child really means. Child refers to a person below 18 years of age or over but is unable to fully take care of him or herself or protect him or herself from abuse, neglect, cruelty, exploitation, or discrimination because of a physical or mental disability or condition. For the purpose of RA 9975, a child also refers to a person regardless of age who is presented, depicted, or portrayed as a child. A computer-generated digitally or manually crafted images or graphics of a person who is represented or who is made to appear to be a child. Republic Act Number 9975 or Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009 is an act defining and penalizing the crime of child pornography, prescribing penalties therefore and for other purposes. Child pornography refers to any representation, whether visual, audio, or written combination thereof by electronic, mechanical, digital, optical, magnetic, or any other means of a child engaged or involved in a real or simulated explicit sexual activity. According to Section 6 of this law, complaints on cases of any form of child pornography and other offenses punishable under this act may be filed with the following: A. Offended party. B. Parents or guardians. C. Ascendants or collateral relative within the third degree of consanguinity. D. Officer, social worker, or representative of a licensed child-caring institution. E. Officer or social worker of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD. F. Local Social Welfare Development Officer. G. Barangay Chairman. H. Any law enforcement officer. I. At least 3 concerned responsible citizens residing in a place where violation occurred. Or J. Any person who has personal knowledge of the circumstances of the commission of any offense says under this act. The next 2 slides will explain the unlawful and forbidden acts and the penalties and sanctions under this act.
Any person found guilty of syndicated child pornography as defined in Section 5 of this Act shall suffer the penalty of reclusion perpetua, 30 o habang buhay na pagkakakulong, and a fine of not less than 2 million pesos but not more than 5 million pesos. Any person found guilty of violating Section 4A, B, and C of this Act shall suffer the penalty of reclusion temporal, 20 hanggang 20 taon na pagkakakulong in its maximum period, and a fine of not less than 1 million pesos but not more than 2 million pesos, as stated in the Section 15 or penalties and sanctions of this Act. Fraternities and sororities, gangs, and social groups are starting to become more and more identified and publicized. Because of their alleged prestige and pride, more teens are encouraged to be part of them. For some of these groups, hazing may be an option to test an applicant's willingness and commitment. On the other hand, hazing is very dangerous and proven to have killed many lives. What is hazing? Hazing is any action taken or any situation created intentionally that causes embarrassment, harassment, or ridicule and risks emotional and or physical harm. Under Republic Act Number 8049, Hazing is an initiation rite or practice as a prerequisite for admission into membership in a fraternity, sorority, or organization by placing the recruit, neophyte, or applicant in some embarrassing or humiliating situations, such as forcing him to do menial, silly, foolish, and similar tasks or activities, or otherwise subjecting him to physical or psychological suffering or injury. If the person subjected to hazing or other forms of initiation rites suffers any physical injury or dies as a result thereof, the officers and the member of the fraternity, sorority, or organization who actually participated in the infliction of physical harm shall be liable as principals. The person or persons who participated in the hazing shall suffer the penalty of reclusion perpetua if death, rape, sodomy, or mutilation results therefrom. The penalty of reclusion temporal in its maximum period if in consequences of the hazing the victim shall become insane, imbecile, impotent, or blind. The penalty of reclusion temporal in its medium period if in consequence of the hazing the victim shall have lost the use of speech or the power to hear or to smell, or shall have lost an eye, a hand, a foot, an arm, or a leg, or shall have lost the use of any such member, shall have become incapacitated for that activity or work in which he was habitually engaged.
Ay, buto yung hawak ko niyan. Dulo lang ganyan. Banat. Hangka dun sa may anong, locker.
Kaya na huwag ka dyan sa locker ko mabait.
Ay, chud. Wala akong tayo sa locker.
Sige, putang ina, subukan mo kanto na. Sige ha, putang ina. Subukan mo maganda sa locker. Diba?
Bilisan mo!
Sige, parang ina, tinigil mo ng si Cordoba. Nangingi ba si Cordoba?
Huwag ka dun sa taas!
Putang ina, sa locker ko pa. Mga pislaki na nga yan.
Manat, mabilang ka ng 100, pabalik. Ha?
Tagalog.
Tagalog.
Ay, putat!
Ay! Ito mo yata ba yung si Kaliwayan ah?
Pukatok na! Ito ka harap sa akin. Pukatok.
Bagong laro. Pukatok.
Papakatar ka bagaman. Ano ba?
Sige, bumaba ka dyan kanto na ha?
Pukatok. Ginaganon na.
On your head!
Buhangin ang mundo.
Bagal ka sa on your head ah.
Ang funky mo, pre.
Hindi umabot. Bumaba sa
Ano? On your back! On your belly! On your head! On your back! John!
Balat,
On your belly!
hanggaman.
ikaw na naman doon. Sa locker nurses.
Batik mo ka na.
Niyabot.
On your back! 3 counts lang. 1, 2, 3!
Yun. Ay, wala.
Magbilang ka. Yung position mo.
Unang beses,
babalik Tagalog din.
Lagyan natin yung ayos yung ano, yung titi ni
Make
Gamat.
10. Comment sa sa. Ay, puta ina! Bumaba pre.
Last 5 minutes.
Uy, puta, connected
Ako,
na.
gusto ko kayong dalawa magpaunahan kayo doon sa formation ha. O hindi, meron pa, wala pa siya. Wala
Mater. Sabihin kung ano yung klase nyo.
Blood donation. Blood donation occurs when a person voluntarily has a blood drawn and used for transfusions and or made bioparamedical medications by a process called fractionation or separation of whole blood components. Donation may be of whole blood or specific components directly or asparagus. Republic Act No. 7719 or National Blood Services Act of 1994 is an act of promoting voluntary blood donation, providing for an adequate supply of safe blood, regulating blood banks, and providing penalties for violation thereof. This act aims to promote and encourage voluntary blood donation by citizenry, provide for adequate, safe, and affordable and equitable distribution of blood and blood products.
National Council for Blood Services and its various committees. It serves as the governing body of the network and is responsible for the approval of various policies on blood services. Philippine National Blood Services under its blood centers. It works on the recruitment, retention, and care of voluntary blood donors, collection of blood from qualified donors, testing of units of blood for infectious disease, authorized blood collection units and facilities, private and public hospitals, blood banks, and blood stations, non-hospital health facilities, national reference laboratories for immunology and immunohematology,